Welcome to episode 8 of Northwest Favorites, the heart of Portland wrestling. I'm your host, Frank Culbertson, and this is a series honoring the wrestlers who live just below the megastar tier, the reliable workers, the emotional favorites, and the villains fans pack the sports arena to see. They weren't the absolute top names, but they were the heart of the territory. Every episode is drawn from the Encyclopedia of Portland Wrestlers by historian Mike Rogers, and it's available now on Amazon. It's the definitive record of the territory era. Today we're spotlighting three men who each made unforgettable marks on the Northwest: Brett Sawyer, John Tolos, and Tom Zenk. Brett Sawyer entered the Northwest in 1981, only in his second year as a pro. Early on, he teamed with his brother Buzz, picking up early singles wins over Igor Volkov and Tonga John, the future Barbarian. But everything changed in January of 1982. The Northwest title had been vacated, and Don Owen announced something Portland had never done before, a battle royal to crown a new champion. It was wide open. You had Buddy Rose, Rocky Johnson, Rip Oliver, Matt Bourne, Stan Stasiak, Dizzy Hogan, Chung Lee, Art Cruz, King Parson, all big contenders. And then the shocker. Brett Sawyer won the whole thing and became Northwest heavyweight champion. That moment vaulted him straight into constant main events. He feuded with Rep Oliver, Buddy Rose, and Matt Bourne, and in April earned one of the biggest matches of his career, a shot at Ric Flair's NWA Championship. Brett lost the title to Oliver in April, but won it back 2 more times and added tag title runs with Rocky Johnson, Steve Pardee, and Tom Pritchard. Sawyer stayed in the territory well into 1984. He passed away in September 2023, leaving behind a legacy as one of the most explosive young babyfaces of the Portland wrestling era. Next is a man revered for his charisma, intensity, and unmistakable voice. That's John Tolos. Though primarily a Vancouver star, Tolos wrestled in Portland frequently from 1968 through 1970, then returned for a few matches in 76. In 1966 alone, he wrestled in the Portland territory at least 39 times, making him a semi-regular presence during that window. In one of historian Mike Rogers' favorite Ring Around the Northwest interviews, Tolos shared what it was like to work for Don Owen. He said, "I would go into Portland once in a while, a little talking on TV, and work the second or third match. But I enjoyed working for Don Owen because he was a nice guy. God bless him. He was a fair promoter." Tolos held the Canadian tag titles in Vancouver 8 times, plus the Pacific Coast singles title. He was wildly entertaining, completely believable, and often downright hilarious. Then came one of the greatest quotes ever recorded in a wrestling interview. Mike Rogers asked him, "Hey, John, how do you spell wrestling?" Tolos let the silence hang and then said, "You say it. Go ahead." Mike refused. And finally, in that booming voice fans know so well, Tolos said, "Tolos, my boy. That's the only way to spell wrestling." Pure magic and pure John Tolos. Our final spotlight today is Tom Zenk, one of the best looking and most naturally gifted babyfaces Portland saw in the mid-1980s. Zenk came to the Northwest in October 1985 after Curt Hennig called Don Owen and said, "You need this guy." Zenk had a physique that rivaled Rick Martel and an instant babyface presence. Portland pushed him hard. Don Owen believed a top babyface should just beat everybody. And Zenk, well, he did exactly that. Early wins included Tim Flowers, Ed Wiskowski, Moondog Moretti, Mike Miller, and Bobby Jaggers. In his Ring Around the Northwest interview, Zenk described Don's philosophy. He said, "Jesus Christ, Tom, all you have to do is beat everyone. Take all the punishment you need, then pull a win out of nowhere. Less is more in wrestling." That was Don's theory. Zenk won the tag titles with Scott Doring and eventually held the Northwest heavyweight title. But his stay was shorter than expected. In 1986, he left abruptly for the IWA in Montreal, answering a call from Rick Martel, who needed help after the Rougeaus had jumped to the WWF. Zenk later admitted, "Looking back, I should have stuck with Don." He returned for one night in May 1988, defeating C.W. Bergstrom and beating the Grappler by disqualification. Zenk passed away in 2017 from cardiovascular disease and an enlarged heart. But to Northwest fans, he remains one of the most pure babyfaces Portland ever produced. 3 careers, 3 completely different stories, but each one represents exactly what made Portland wrestling special. Brett Sawyer, the young spark plug who stunned the territory by winning the Northwest title and fighting his way into main events long before anyone expected it. John Tolos, the explosive veteran whose voice, charisma, and sheer presence turned every interview into appointment television. Tom Zenk, the picture-perfect babyface who won over the crowds the second he walked through the curtain, and whose Portland run remains one of the most memorable of the mid-'80s. They were never pushed as the absolute megastars, but they were the heartbeat. They were the emotion. They were the wrestlers fans paid to see, the fan favorites and fierce rivals who gave Portland its identity. This has been episode 8 of Northwest Favorites, the heart of Portland wrestling, the fan favorites and fierce rivals who defined an era. This series is based on the Encyclopedia of Portland Wrestlers by historian Mike Rogers, available now on Amazon. And I'm your host, Frank Culbertson. Follow on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and join me again next Friday as we continue celebrating the names that made the Northwest one of wrestling's most unforgettable territories.